Casey here with you today. We are talking about drug-free approaches to address depression. This goes hand in hand with arthritis pain, with autoimmune disease, chronic inflammatory diseases, and just general mood disorders, general life things. So I feel like this is a really great topic to have a refresher on, because I'm sure we know already some ways to pick up our mood, but we just either don't do it or don't think about it or have forgotten. But I also think that this is a great opportunity to let you know that we are an accountability system, that there is support out there, and that we all struggle with this from time to time, some more than others. I know that I struggle with bouts of depression within my life, and it's the coping mechanisms that we need to hone down to help get us out of that hole. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you are new to our community, though, we just want to introduce ourselves. My name is Casey Kephart. I'm the founder of the Feel Good Formula. I'm a functional medicine nutritionist, and I work with women with all autoimmune diseases to get you back to the activities you love to do, trash those symptoms, and get your life back. And I reside in St. Petersburg, Florida, where there's a thunderstorm happening, so I hope my internet does not go out. Jessica.
And I'm Jessica Melnick. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method, the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions Group, and I help both women and men with various forms of arthritis get back to living life the way they choose to, not the way they have to. And I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada, where it's actually really warm and sunny today, so I'm really liking that.
I love that for you.
We savor every little part of the summertime over here because it doesn't last long.
Absolutely. So let's get right into the depression and some coping mechanisms. I first want to say that one of the reasons we're talking about this is because most of our clients do have bouts of depression. And how could you not, with the pain that you're experiencing and the symptoms of the bloating, always feeling like maybe Shamu, always having to go to the bathroom, always having a headache, always feeling just down, and a change in lifestyle because of this new routine you have to have with having an autoimmune disease or an arthritic flare is a lot on your body, and it's a lot on your mind. And as you'll learn today, your body and mind go hand in hand with depression, and we need to treat both of those to decrease and eliminate that depression. So I want to normalize that it is very normal to be feeling down in this time of having an autoimmune disease or newly diagnosed, or even if you still don't know what the heck is going on, that might be even more traumatizing for you. So there are ways to get out of this. And most of you who are watching right now or on the replay are probably women. We have a lot of women in our community because autoimmune disease is more prevalent in women than it is men. And women experience depression 50% more than men do. And that is from a variety of factors, not just, our hormones and being a woman in general, but women are more prevalent to have autoimmune diseases. And I totally lost my train of thought with, with where I was going with this. So
I think it's kind of that circle. Women are more prone to have autoimmune diseases, and therefore, with autoimmune diseases, you're more prone to depression.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And men and women have different roles in society. We grew up differently, thinking about different things. I mean, there's so many variables in this. So, and then also, when we have depression leads to more symptoms and more pain. And when we have more symptoms and pain, it leads to more depression. So we're constantly feeling like we're in this negative hamster wheel of like, the more pain I have, the more depression I have, the more depression I have, the more pain I have. Because again, it's the gut to brain axis, and it goes through that vagus nerve that we have, and it feeds information to each other. And if we don't have the correct bacteria in our bodies to produce the serotonin that lives in our gut, 90% of our serotonin levels, the feel good hormone, lives in our gut. If we don't have enough of that, it's not going to feed the brain positive information and positive thoughts. So it's super, super important to hone in on your gut to heal the depression, but also your brain. So there's going to be a long list we're going to go through. Some of it you already know, some of it you'd be like, oh, that might help. I don't know. I'll try it. But take what you need out of this and leave what you don't. And you can always watch the replay. So we don't want to overwhelm you with you should be doing all of these tactics because that's not what we're saying. We want to give you a lot of information here for something to stick. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall here, and whatever is going to stick for you is what you need in this moment. And what doesn't, it might stick in a month. It might stick in the next bout of depression that we hope you don't have, you know? So just listen with an open mind here and write down notes or ask questions in the comments if you need to, whether you're live or on the replay. Jessica, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think, well, this one is, I think, pretty obvious. But I think because a lot of us have grown up not having our doctors tell us that what we eat is really, really important. And it's directly correlated with how we feel mentally, emotionally, physically, all those things. So, not eating highly processed food, junk foods, those types of things. So, yeah, a little bit here and there, fine. But if that's part of your regular diet, your body is really going to struggle and your brain is really going to struggle. So, 90% of our serotonin is actually produced in our gut. So, if we are not feeding the good bacteria with like really good foods, like veggies, fruit, high quality protein, our bad bacteria are not going to, our bad bacteria will thrive because it loves processed food like sugars and refined carbohydrates. And our good bacteria isn't going to thrive. And so we need to have good bacteria in our gut. We need to have way more of that than the bad bacteria so that we can produce more serotonin. And that's, of course, going to improve our mood. So that's super, super important.
Isn't it an 80-20 balance, like 80% good bacteria, 20% bad bacteria?
Yes.
Okay.
So I could liken it to, I call it like the food hangover. So similar to if you have too much to drink, you're usually going to wake up in the middle of the night or the next morning, usually feeling sweaty, anxious, and down. Food does the same thing. It's just maybe not quite the as intense of an effect as like an alcohol hangover, but a food can create that hangover effect in the body too. It can create anxiety, having too much sugar, having that sugar drop. That makes us feel sad. It makes us lower in energy and lower in our mood, and our body has to deal with that. So when we're eating a lot of processed foods, there's a lot of chemicals and things in there that are not good for us. And our body, our liver has to process that. So it's not just alcohol that hurts our liver. Because I think sometimes people think, well, I don't drink, so that's like fine. But we also have to look at what we're consuming because our poor liver and our body has to process that food. So if we're eating a whole bunch of processed food and a whole bunch of chemicals, our liver's really going to struggle and our gut's really going to struggle.
Right. So thinking about that too, after a vacation, I don't know how many times I've heard myself say it and clients and friends say like, "Oh my God, I just feel like shit and I don't feel good. I'm down. I have more anxiety now, whatever it is." That's proof in the pudding here that your food directly correlates with your mood. So when you're in this depression bout, and I call it a hole, I feel like I am just in a black hole and I can't get myself out. I know that I need to hone in on my diet because if I have so many carbohydrates, because that's comfort food and that's what we kind of crave in this, and us needing this dopamine and serotonin boost while we're depressed, I know that I can't give in to the ice cream and the chips and everything that I want because it's just going to do that hamster wheel again. We need to really hone in on our proteins and steak and potatoes that I like to eat and probiotics and things like that. So if you have more questions about the food part, because we know it can be very complicated for people with autoimmune disease and what to eat and what not to eat, let us know in the comments here or directly message us because we're happy to help with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you want to take the next
another,
one there, Casey?
yeah,
You have
another,
more to say about that one than maybe I do.
yes. So another one would be, I put this one on our list because it's super important to me in starting off the day right, whether I am in my hole of depression or not, is that when you are able to put your feet on the bed right away after, or put your feet on the bed, put your feet on the floor right after your alarm goes off, or make your bed first thing in the morning, your brain switches to, okay, we accomplished one thing already today. Let's keep going. What's the next? And you have this self of accomplishment. And when you are in that depression hole, it is hard to feel that way. It is hard to feel successful and accomplished and good. So if you can start your morning off with hitting the cancel button on the alarm and putting your feet on the ground, that is one thing less that you have to do today. That is one thing you accomplished. You can make your bed first thing in the morning. Your brain triggers to, I did something. I am successful right now. And this can keep on going. And these are just small things that can add up. So I want you to play those little tricks with your brain. And it's just, I know it's so little, but it's super important.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one is getting some natural sunlight. So if you can, getting outside first thing in the morning can be really good, not just for your serotonin boost, but also, to help your circadian rhythms as well. So to help you sleep better at night. I know it sounds kind of strange, but when you get that natural sunlight into your eyes, it does trigger your brain into kind of knowing what time of day it is. And so that in itself can be a really good mood booster. I know, especially if you're like me and you live in the northern hemisphere and it is cold and dark a good part of the year, if you can get outside when there is sunlight and it's not too cold to get out during the winter time, do so. Or, get a light therapy lamp. They really, really help in the darker days of fall and winter to really boost your mood. I've been using one since my early 20s and I really swear by them. There is some science to back it up, so it's not just a completely woo woo thing. And they do
Yeah.
not give off UV rays, so they're not going to damage your skin or anything like that. It's not a suntan lamp, but they have a very bright, it's called lux. It's a unit of measurement of light brightness, and they're very bright. You don't stare directly into them. You kind of put them off, so you kind of get them in the sunlight or the light in your peripheral vision. And it's really great to get that first thing in the morning. Helps with the circadian rhythm, helps with the mood, helps with energy. They're relatively inexpensive. There's lots of different designs out there. There's a brand called Verilux that I'm quite familiar with. They have lots of different options. So if that's something, if you struggle with winter depression, which is a real thing for a lot of people, look into that. Give that a try.
Yeah, two things on that with the circadian rhythms and getting out in the morning for your sunlight. I think it's the studies show about 20 minutes you want to get, and maybe a little bit longer if the clouds are showing and you don't really see that sun coming down on you. But that prepares you, that morning sunlight prepares you for bed at night. That's how crazy our bodies work. So if we want to sleep better at night, which again is not again, but we'll get to it, is really great for depression, mood regularity. We want to make sure that we're getting out within an hour of waking up to get those rays on us, whether there's clouds or not. And second thing to that is randomly, I was on a boat last Friday with my friend, and his brother-in-law um, owned a company of light therapy.
Oh,
I'm like,
amazing.
oh, okay, let's chat because I know a couple things about it. And he was just saying that it is doing super well. People are more well known about light therapy now, and he puts it in basically everywhere. But one of the places that stood out to me was in his little carport that he and his daughter work out in. And he's like, it kind of gives me more energy. People look at me like I'm crazy, but because it's like this red light that he has for light therapy. And it was just giving him more energy. And it was super cool to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from that. Movement. We all know that movement is medicine here. Movement increases the endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. I mean, all of those feel good hormones that we have, it helps with. It helps with calming down our brain. So if you are feeling depressed because you have too much going on up here, my friend likes to say we have 60 tabs open in our brain. Today, I feel like I have 90. But exercise and movement can help with that, and it can help lower that anxiety and that depression we may feel from not being able to complete all of these tabs or feeling like we're not good enough or whatever it is for you. Get out and move. It helps unjumble all of that in your brain. It helps increase those feel good hormones that we have. It helps with weight loss if this is bringing you down in your mood and depression. But also, studies have shown that obesity is directly related to depression, probably because of that serotonin and that bad bacteria slash good bacteria we have in our gut. We have more bad bacteria in the gut when we are obese and overweight than we do the good. So it's not feeding that good serotonin that we have in our guts. So get out and move, even if it is just for 2 minutes. There was a 2-minute study done that it unjumbled the brain, it got those hormones up. You didn't break a sweat, you probably won't lose weight, but that is a great starting point to just get going. And if you can do that in the morning with the sunlight, you're killing two birds with one stone. I always want to say one bird with two stones, which is so immorally correct. It is not okay to say that.
Poor birds.
I know.
We don't want to hurt any birds here, but you know what we're talking about.
No animals were hurt in this making of this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm done with the movement spiel.
And I just wanted to piggyback a little on the movement. So I know a lot of my community were experiencing arthritis. So if you're in the midst of a flare, or if you have certain joints that are really damaged and like there's certain movements you can't do, just do what you can. Like even stretching the joints and the muscles that you can, that is going to help. We do need to move lymph through our body, and we can only do that through movement. So doing whatever you're capable of. This does not need to be a full-on workout. If you can just do some stretching, maybe even like a couple minutes of walking, you start where you're at and you work from there. Another big one is journaling. So not everybody's into journaling. I'm kind of an off and on journaler, depending on what I'm going through in my life. I find that it can be really helpful with clarifying changes I might need to make or things that are like bothering me, because it really helps you kind of uncover some of the things that are going on in your subconscious that might be bugging you that you may not otherwise have thought of. And so when you have that clarity by writing things out onto paper, it can really help you figure out what you need to do to adjust in your life in order to move forward and kind of get out of that slump. So that's kind of how I've experienced journaling and how it's worked for me.
Yeah, it organizes your thoughts. I'm big into journaling, and I feel like it helps me immensely. And my manager 5 years ago said it in a great way about journaling and just writing down your thoughts and what's going on in your head is, when we keep repeating a song in our head, right? And usually it's only a line or two, and we keep repeating that and repeating that and repeating that. And it's like, oh my God, get this thing out of my head. Your brain is trying to get it out of your head. So what we need to do is write it down. Write down that thought that just keeps repeating. And then your brain subconsciously says, okay, this is not going to be forgotten. It is down on paper. I can start processing some more things now. Then you put that on paper. So it's a way for your brain to move on because it knows that it's not going to be forgotten and not going to be not processed, if that makes any sense at all. So stop with that repeating thought. Just put it on paper or type it out or speak it in your phone, something.
Love that. Did you want to take on the probiotics DHA there, science lady?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like all science today, huh? Um, okay, so some supplements that can help with depression is probiotics, and we've been talking about this a lot today already. Let's like flush all of the good bacteria into our guts so we can feed that serotonin, so that we can feed more good bacteria and flush out the bad, so we can boost our brain. DHA. So you might have heard of EPA and DHA, which come together in a fish oil. You can also get DHA alone, though, but the DHA part is really good for the brain. This is what boosts our brain function. It helps with brain fog. It helps with memory and cognition. If you're taking exams, just everything having to do with the neural part up here, it is great for. So try not just eating like salmon and fish, but like take a DHA supplement so you can get a plethora of it because it's concentrated in that capsule, and take it. It's going to help boost that mood for you. Um, Magnesium is another great supplement for depression. It is, and anxiety. They often go hand in hand. Magnesium is great for calming down, but it also does 300 different enzymatic reactivities in your body. So it is good for recovery of exercise, calming down your brain, bowels, your heart, so many other things. So oftentimes people take magnesium before bed. It's in a powder. There's one called Calm that people use to just de-stress. Like, let's unwind that tight ball that we are having right now. And another one would be CBD oil. I don't know if you caught last year of our special guest that we had, Theodora, who makes and sells her own CBD oil, but she was talking about all of the effects that CBD oil can do. And it is really great for the brain. It is really great for calming down. It is really great for pain, autoimmune diseases, inflammation in general. So you're taking the CBD oil for depression, but it's also going to help these root causes of why you have the depression, the inflammation, the symptoms, the sleep, the lack of sleep, the energy, whatever it is. So I think CBD oil is a really great mechanism to help with depression and the root causes of it. Same with the probiotics, DHA, magnesium, I just said. But if you have more questions about where to get good qualities of this, who to talk to more about, put it in the comments. We'll direct you, or we'll talk about it ourselves. But those are some really great mechanisms, like extra mechanisms to help.
Yeah. I'm going to take a couple here because I know we could talk about this forever, and I know this is getting a little long. So I will try to speed up some of these explanations because I do get excited about talking about this stuff. Another one is going to therapy and spending time with friends and making a point of doing this. And this is advice that I need to take for myself and remind myself to do this on a regular basis because I get busy and then I forget to make plans with friends. And then I get lonely and then realize, wow, I haven't seen such and such a friend for months. And so this is something that's really, really important because loneliness is a really huge mood killer. And it's also physically not good for us to feel loneliness either. So making a point of making time with family or friends or loved ones in general, and also therapy. So sometimes there's things that obviously we need an objective third party to get help from. We can't always figure everything out with just our family or friends or people who aren't necessarily objective but really want to support us. Sometimes we do need to talk to a professional and get a more objective opinion and perspective on things. So that can be really, really helpful. And another one, and this is for a lot of my clients in my community, is pain management. So of course, we want to give you all the options out there that are drug-free, but there is absolutely no shame in taking medication when necessary. And sometimes if you are in a lot of pain or you are trying to prevent joint damage, we need to take medication in order to kind of get ourselves over that hump. So again, Starting where you're at, doing what you need to do in that moment. So if, talking to your doctor about effective pain management to get through a flare up, that might be something that you really need to do, because being in pain really can be very depressing, because, as you know, it restricts you from doing so many things and it's absolutely exhausting. So just, I always say, start where you're at and go from there. And sometimes you just need to do what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. Sleep hygiene, I think, is another really important one we need to cover. Sleep hygiene means doing the things before bed, during bed to sleep well. So making sure we have no lights and TV screens and things staring into our eyeballs, because that affects our circadian rhythms and getting our REM sleep, our deep sleep, and our light sleep that we all need a combination of. Making sure that we're going to bed not on a very full stomach or full of liquor, and getting enough sleep, getting that quality sleep, which is your sleep hygiene mechanisms, but also working on getting in bed for those 8 hours that we need. And I know a lot of people say that they can run on 5 and 6 hours, but we can't. You're just adapted to it. That is your normal. That doesn't mean that your body is thriving off of that, especially with an autoimmune disease or a chronic inflammatory disease. We need more sleep than 5 and 6 hours. So if we are not sleeping correctly, our body and our nervous system is going to kind of decrease and not, I hate using the word fail, but we're going to lessen the quality of our body and our nervous system. So, which leads to more anxiety, more depression, more appetite, more irritability. We just don't function well. So make sure you're prioritizing your 8 hours of sleep. I get called a grandma by all of my friends because I prioritize my sleep and I'm in bed by 9:30. I'm sorry. I want to feel good tomorrow. So make that a priority if that's not something that already is for you.
Yeah, that. One of the big things too, and I practice this myself, especially if you have like a really busy full day, or maybe your job isn't your favorite thing in the world and you spend a lot of part of your day doing things that you're not really a big fan of. Maybe you have a stressful job, maybe you're really busy being a parent, all the different responsibilities that we have in a day. We have to carve out time to do something that we actually really want to do and that we're looking forward to do. Because if you are kind of like going through your day, spending it, being stressed out and doing a bunch of stuff that you're just trying to get through, not because you want to do it, that is really depressing. Like, why would you look forward to your day if that was all that it was about? So it's really important to even carve out. I say to my clients, if you can only carve out even 10 minutes a day to do something that you really want to do, like, read a book or watch a funny show or go for a walk or call a friend or whatever it is that makes you happy and brings you joy, taking that time is just so, so important. It doesn't have to be a lot, just has to be a little, and making that a priority. Put it down in your, in your calendar so that you don't forget to do it, because I always feel that if we don't prioritize things, we don't actually put it in our calendar, then there's always going to be something else that's going to take over. And then it just never happens.
Yeah, I agree. Another one would be, there's a quote that keeps going around in my community lately, my community meaning podcasts and books, is it's not completing the goal that makes you happy. It's the journey of your goal. So what you are doing each day to get you closer to your goal is actually boosting your mood and your what's the word I'm looking for? It makes you feel more successful and accomplished and like you're living your passion. So if you are finding yourself now avoiding things or not doing what you're made to do, or your passions are putting things on hold, do something each day that might get you closer to your goal, whether that's a health goal, a business goal, a personal goal, a financial goal, something. We need to keep working towards our goals to boost our moods and to boost just our quality of life in general. So if you feel like you are too sick to complete a goal, find a new goal that you can complete and work towards it, and that will boost your mood each day.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we covered a lot. I guess maybe one thing we didn't mention, I know we've talked about this a lot in other chats that we've had, is getting rid of the life suckers, the spirit suckers. So whether that's people or activities, the things and the people in our lives that are bringing us down. And sometimes we need to set boundaries in our relationships, or sometimes we need to let go of certain relationships if they are really bringing us down and they're not adding to our lives. And sometimes we need to stop doing activities, or maybe make an end to a project or something that is just making us, it's just not life affirming. It's just bringing us down. It's not getting us anywhere. Sometimes it's okay to leave certain things incomplete. Sometimes it's just figuring out when to stop doing certain things, or when to leave a job, or all those different circumstances. And like we said before, journaling can help you figure that out too. Sometimes getting things down on paper can really help us figure out what kind of changes or adjustments we need to make in our life in order to be happier and healthier in general.
Yeah, I agree. So we should probably end this. It's getting really long, but we could talk for hours about this. If you have any questions or ideas, opinions, comments, please comment below, whether you're watching live or on the replay. I just noticed it is August 1st, and I know a lot of us get motivated by a new month, a new week, a new year. If you are one of those people right now struggling with mood, irregularity, depression, anxiety, let's make a goal starting today of maybe one thing off of this list that we just said that you want to implement each day or once a week, or talk to your spouse about it. But there is hope, there is accountability, there is support out there. So please just reach out, and we can either navigate you and help guide you, or help you ourselves if that is in our scope. So Jessica will be back on Thursday with a recipe for you. And until then, I hope everybody has a great day.
Bye, everybody.